The unveiling of the sixth generation Chinese Air Force fighter jet, the White Emperor, has created a lot of buzz in the defense aviation industry. Now, a number of people have asked me this question as to what exactly is a generation in fighter jets. Now, I in turn put this question before Air Marshal Anil Chopra and watch what he has to say.
Yeah, the jet aircraft first jet aircraft was the German Me 262, which at the end of Second World War, and thereafter there have been generations of aircraft. Now, formally in 1990, one historian, Richard Hallion, he decided to, put these fighter aircraft in generations. So how it evolved was the initial generations, that the first generation, as I said, straight wing, just having a jet engine, included, old time MiG 15s, the maybe the F-80, the American, even the Sabre, Hawker Hunter, of course, got us, certain amount of wing sweep. So this is how the initial generation was. And then came the second generation, faster aircraft, swept wing, delta wings, went supersonic. They were perhaps MiG-21, the Lockheed F-104, mostly for high altitude interceptions. Then came the English Electric Lightning, and of course also the Mirage 3 later on, the bigger version that came out is Mirage 5. So there you can say that these are around the second generation. And then came the third generation aircraft, which included the F-4 Phantom, which did a great job in Vietnam, MiG-23 swing wing, the Sukhoi 17, and aeroplanes of this class with Generation 3. By this time, they've had some Doppler radars, they had off-site targeting, they had air-to-air missiles. Of course, the air-to-air missiles came with the second generation itself, with the MiG-21s, etc. So the capabilities are going up, the aircraft are becoming faster, the avionics are becoming better, and then came the fourth generation aircraft, which the main thing that happened was that high thrust weight ratios, fly-by-wire controls, advanced technologies, multi-role like the F-16, the Mirage 2000, the MiG-29, these are all fourth generation aircraft. Because of the high thrust weight, agility, high rates of climb, these are some of the characteristics. Of course, their radars improved. They could now look up and look down to missiles. So they were also some of these in the fourth generation started getting a little bit of front hemisphere stealth by shaping, not or maybe limited radar absorbent materials. The F-14 Grumman Tomcat was the first of this generation of aeroplanes. Then came also the Saab Viggen. That was another aircraft which you could say is the fourth generation. And then came Sukhoi 27 and its various variants. Then came the Panavia Tornado. So there were many aircraft. But you see the agility that came, high thrust weight. We all remember the Pugashev's Cobra maneuver that he used to do. It was possible to fly the aircraft at high angles of attack because of high thrust and also because of the fly-by-wire. Also, the canards came up in some of the aircraft. So this is how the fourth generation aircraft came up. In the fourth generation, also a stealth aircraft came up. That is the Lockheed F-117, which had the had the capability to fly unseen. Though it was not a fifth generation aircraft per se, because it didn't have many other traits of a fifth generation aircraft. So fourth generation itself has got divided further into 4, 4.5, some call it 4 plus, some calls it 4 plus plus. So there was some of these aircraft, like the Rafale, for example. Now the radar was not only pulse Doppler, passive radar, but now became active electronic scanned arrays. ISA radars came up. Low probability of intercept radars, electro-optical targeting systems, sensor fusion started in 4.5 generation, super maneuverability, super cruise Super cruise is when even in dry power you can continue to fly at supersonic speeds. A high use of composites that allowed the weight to be reduced. So in this category, as I said, Rafale was one, MiG-35, the Su-35, even our own LCA Mark II that will come up will be in this category. And then came the fifth generation aircraft. Fifth generation, the starting point is stealth. The aircraft must have stealth. It must have advanced digital computing capabilities, great networks, secure networks for communications, be able to pass data, large resolution videos from the air to the ground or to other aeroplanes in flight. So, the entire machine-human interface changed to a great extent. And of course, some of these aircraft started interacting with drones in the air, some form of man-machine, teaming started, unmanned, manned teaming started. But of course, the main feature remained, as I mentioned, the stealth and high maneuverability and be able to do data fusion and be able to do. And we all know that the fifth generation aircraft were F-22, which is the first one, came in 2005, and F-35, which are the American aircraft. Then we have the Chengdu J-20, the Chinese. Nearly about 300 are already flying. They target to have 1,000 by end of this decade, and by 2035, they will have 1,500 of them. So that's the kind of numbers they are talking about. And of course, more recently, they flew the J-35, and lots of excitement on social media because the Pakistan government has announced, and the Air Chief said that they are going to acquire the J-35A, which will be an export variant of the aircraft. And of course, the Sukhoi Su-57 Felon is flying in Russia. They did their first flight about 6 years back. Currently, they have around 40 aircraft, but another 30 are in high state of production and soon will be ready. So this is how the generations have come up in basically capabilities, technologies, and capability to sort of interact with other aeroplanes. And in the sixth generation, I must mention that the requirements of all that I mentioned in fifth generation at a much higher ability, high battlefield survivability, enhanced superiority in both ground and air-to-air roles, to be able to manage the unmanned teaming with drone swarms, so it can single-handedly, handle a large number of aircraft. So in this category, of course, one aircraft is already the White Emperor. The Chengdu White Emperor has already flown. The American U.S. Air Force's NGAD is on paper, but after the last election, people like Elon Musk have already said that there is no future for manned aircraft. Though, mind you, even the White Emperor is a manned aircraft. So there is a little confusion. The whole thing about the American aircraft, including the Navy's FA-XX, will evolve only in the next year after the Trump administration settles down. Similarly, there is this European program, Future Combat Air System, FCAS, the Multinational Global Combat Air Program, GCAP. These are the two other programs that are going around in Europe. They have had their ups and downs. The monies involved are very large. And this is how the various generations are unfolding. Back with you. Yeah.